How do you become a thought leader? And maybe better yet, how do you become one and then monetize it? In this video, I'm going to show you how. The problem that I run across often with people building a thought leadership strategy is that they build it with the steps out of order, and they end up with a strategy that's not quite a right fit for them, not fully aligned with who they really are, feels a little bit inauthentic, it's missing some pieces, and it just falls flat. And because of that, it doesn't get monetized. The solution is my 7-step formula. I call it the Superstar Business Model. It's an overall brand and business strategy that helps you not only establish yourself as a thought leader, but also monetize it and generate income from it. So there are 7 steps. The first is alignment, and that is at the very foundation of building a thought leadership strategy. Alignment is about stepping into your identity as a leader. And as a leader that is leading from a place of originality and authenticity, rather than a leader who's simply reflecting the culture. I say this because I see a lot of times people start to build their thought leadership strategy by looking outward first, by looking at the market, by saying, there's an opportunity to do this, or there's an opportunity to do that, or the market is looking for this. And that's all well and good. These are all really important questions. We want to create things that are going to resonate with the market, but we don't want to start there. We don't want to start there because what can happen is we can end up building a thought leader business that we don't feel fully aligned in. And it's a lot like wearing ill-fitting clothes. You know, wearing jeans that are too tight or boots that don't fit right. You might look okay from the outside looking in, but if you don't feel great, you're not going to be projecting an aura of thought leadership or authority. So the first thing we do is we look at alignment. We look at your identity. Who are you really? What do you love to do? What do you believe in? What are your values? What's your purpose? These are all foundational questions that come before we can start to build a really great thought leader brand. I'll share my personal experience when I started my business and I tried to position myself as a thought leader from the outside looking in. I did it backwards. I ended up 5, 6, 7 years into my business feeling exhausted. Why? Because my business didn't light me up. I had built it based on what the market needed or what I thought the market needed instead of what I really cared about. And I ended up creating a business that was out of alignment with my own values. I was promoting products and services that I really didn't want to be delivering. So step 1, alignment, and really aligning what you're going to do with who you really are at a fundamental level. And in fact, I'll share one more thing about that. One of the first things that we do with every client is to do a series of personality tests to really understand what are this person's strengths, what are their weaknesses, what makes sense for them to be doing and branding around, and what should we just let go. The second part of building an entire thought leadership strategy is to look at what is the lifestyle of this thought leader. If that's you, then what is it that you want to be doing with your time? What do you enjoy? See, the problem when we create a brand or when we create a business that doesn't take into account your lifestyle, burnout can be a really serious, real thing for thought leaders. Think about it. Thought leaders, we travel all the time. We have to be on stages. We have to go visit clients. We're on. And so if that's not a lifestyle that appeals to you, you need to figure out, well, what is the lifestyle that you want so that you can build a business model and an entire thought leader empire around the lifestyle you want to lead. Do you want to be traveling? Do you want to be home? Do you have small kids at home, right? What are some of the considerations of your lifestyle? I can't tell you how often I come across a client who's ended up building an entire business around a lifestyle they never wanted to lead in the first place, but they never thought about it at the beginning, and it just sort of ended up there by default. The third thing that any thought leader needs to think about as they're developing a strategy, this is my favorite piece, is what is the business model? Your business model is the mechanism, this is my definition, the mechanism by which you turn your magic into money. So how will you take these gifts of yours, this message, this purpose, these values of yours, and how will you turn that into a business that generates revenues. How do you monetize your magic? So a business model can be anything from online courses or professional services or keynote speaking or licensing and franchising or rentals. There's any number of business models out into the world, but your business model is one of the things that's most closely tied to your lifestyle. A professional services model where you're selling time for money is probably incompatible with a lifestyle where you want a lot of free time. So thinking about your business model and thinking about, okay, what is the work that I really want to be doing? I'll give you an example. I'll use myself again because I'm the best example I know. When I started my business, I just defaulted to a professional services model where I was selling time for money. And because of that, I was always working. Because when you sell time for money, you've got to sell more time to make more money. I didn't have a sense of a business model, but about 6 years ago, I shifted my business model to doing group programs. So I was no longer selling time for money. Instead, I had an event model. And an event model, I could serve multiple people at the same time. So I created more leverage in my business. So the third piece, your business model, the mechanism by which you turn your magic into money. Got to give that some thought. The fourth piece is something that I know well because I built my entire career on it for many years, is branding. Once you're clear about who you are, how you want to live, and how you're going to monetize your magic, it's time to think about your positioning in the market. That's when we start to look at, oh, what does the market need? What is the market asking for? What are the market opportunities? That might be where we create a SWOT analysis to look for, okay, what's the need that we can serve in the market? So what that looks like, branding, is positioning. It's looking at who's the target audience. What do they need? What's the pricing for your services? What will you be offering? What's your tagline? What are your brand colors? What's your big, sexy idea, which is what Mark Levy calls it? You're building what I like to call your butterfly garden. Your brand is that garden that you cultivate that attracts your clients to you. The fifth puzzle piece of your thought leadership strategy is marketing. So now that you have a brand, the question is, well, how are you going to put that brand out into the world on an ongoing basis? Marketing is how you do that. If you have a brand that's around a big, sexy idea, then the marketing is every week, what are you putting out into the world that talks about your big, sexy idea? Check out my videos on thought leadership marketing over here. Now, the sixth thing is where you actually turn all that brand equity and all that marketing into money. 6 is monetization. It's sales. And this is a part where I thought I had it all going on, but I really didn't. I used to have a really complicated sales strategy. I would get on the phone with people. I would meet them for lunch. I would write these long proposals that most often never even got responded to. And then about 6 years ago, I shifted my entire sales strategy to one thing. All roads lead to a meaningful conversation. Now, a meaningful conversation is what one of my mentors, Mark LeBlanc, calls a sales call. And the change that I made that was a game changer for me was to lead all calls to action into a conversation. And from that conversation, then meeting with people, understanding their needs, and offering. I only had 3 simple offers. 1, 2, 3. Now, you don't have to do it that way, but I do encourage you to have a simple, replicatable sales process instead of having a whole bunch of different ways that you sell. Now, once you have these 6 pieces in place, the foundation, identity alignment, lifestyle, business model, brand, marketing, monetization, and sales, then you've got to look at, all right, how am I going to scale this thing? How am I going to systemize operations so that I can grow? What's the phase 3 look like? If I'm in phase 1 right now, then what does it look like to get to my ideal future outcome? And then work backwards from there to phase 2 to understand, all right, what do I need to do to get from here to there? Step 7 is scaling your operations, creating systems and processes to repeat things, reduce any leaks in your business, tighten up your operations so you can become much more profitable. The next step that you need to do in order to really put this into action is to go check out my business assessment. My Superstar Business Assessment is a very simple, about 30 minutes it's going to take you process to look at where are the biggest opportunities in your business based on this framework so that you can grow your business faster and with more joy and fulfillment.